निरञ्जनं नित्यम् अनन्तरूपम् भक्तकम्पाद्विग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमेड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामि. Welcome to our Saturday morning session on guided meditation. Let us meditate. Sit upright, keeping your back, shoulders and neck and head in a relaxed upright position. Feel your body to be strong and healthy. Direct your attention to various limbs of the body, and as you do so, visualize that each part is strong, healthy, and filled with the divine light. Focus your mind on your toes, feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, hips, back, stomach, chest, shoulders, elbows, arms, hands, neck, face, head, the whole body. Visualize it to be filled with a divine light, full of strength and purity, holiness. Now focus your mind on your breath. Inhale and exhale in a rhythmic way, breathing in and out deeply. As you inhale, visualize that you are breathing in pure light that fills every corner of your mind, every cell of your body, with a divine radiance. Breathe in and out in this way, repeating the mantra Om as you do so thrice. Now let us pray for the welfare of all beings. May that infinite universal consciousness, which forms the substratum of all creation in this universe, out of whom everything has been projected, by whom everything is being sustained, and into whom everything will return. May that ocean of pure consciousness, of the nature of infinite existence, infinite knowledge, infinite bliss, purity, peace, strength, fearlessness, and all divine qualities that dwells in the heart of every living being. May that divine being be gracious to us. May it attract our minds to itself and grant us devotion, purity, and spiritual illumination. May there be peace in our hearts. May there be peace in the hearts of all beings throughout the universe. May all be happy, joyful, and peaceful. Send your thoughts out to your right. Visualize your thoughts going out forever, lifting everyone it comes across. Send your prayers to your left, in front, behind, above, below, and in all directions. Now withdraw your mind from the external world to the center of your heart. Visualize your heart to be strong and healthy. Visualize that interpenetrating your physical body is a mental body, a subtle body full of light, full of knowledge. And finer than that is a causal body, which supports the mental body and physical body. That body of the nature of infinite intelligence. And beyond that, sustaining all three, is the ocean of pure consciousness. Blissful, luminous, peaceful, eternal and immortal. In that ocean of consciousness, visualize a beautiful lotus, fully bloomed, full of fragrance. In the center of that lotus, visualize a flame, steady like a lamp kept in a windless place, radiating its light in all directions, dispelling the darkness all around. You may wish to replace that flame with any divine form of your choice, visualizing him or her to be a living presence in the core of your being, ever gracious, eager to bestow all spiritual gifts to you. Feel that living presence as your eternal companion, as your protector, guide, friend, philosopher, very close and intimate to you. Visualize that the light emanating from this divine within you to be the light of spiritual knowledge that dispels the darkness of ignorance. It is the light of purity that fills your whole body and mind with holiness. It is the light of bliss that fills with joy through and through. It is the light of supreme peace, fills you with serenity and tranquility. It is the source of all strength that makes you strong spiritually, morally, emotionally, intellectually, and physically. Focus your whole mind in a prayerful manner to this divine presence within you, seeking his or her blessings for illumination, devotion, and spiritual realization. Feel the divine presence and repeat the mantra that has been given by a spiritual teacher. Or you may repeat the Gayatri mantra or Shakta Brahman Om Or if you wish to meditate on Sri Ramakrishna, you repeat Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishna. Feel that presence within you, communicate with it, and keep your mind in the loop of the repetition of the mantra. Keeping a watchful eye, if it drifts away anywhere, gently bring it back to the divine within you. Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. In this way, we invoke the presence of the Divine in our own hearts. Heart means the subtlest part of our being, which is pure consciousness. That consciousness itself is nameless and formless. Yet it has the capacity and power to assume the name and form according to the temperament of the devotee, the way we will approach it, according to our own minds, how we are trained in whichever tradition. So the existence in which we all are part of it, this whole universe, infinite number of galaxies and solar systems, and on this, within our solar system, with this planet with population of 7 billion people and so many plants and animals, we all exist. We all, each one feels he is existing in some way. The degree of that experience could be very vast in the case of an enlightened person, or very limited, like us. When we say we exist, we feel that our body exists. And there is a mind and there is an I sense in it. It's a very limited existence. A stone also exists, but its degree of self-awareness is even more limited. So as we evolve and grow from lower life forms, from a stone into a mineral, into a bacteria, virus, and plants and animals, into a human being and gods, as we go higher and higher, the structure in which we are enveloped, our bodies keep on evolving. And as we evolve, there's greater and greater manifestation of consciousness. The culmination of this evolution would be when that consciousness will be experienced without any limitations, infinite, without any bodies to limit it, bodiless. And that state of existence is called Brahman. Brahman is that vast, limitless, pure consciousness. That consciousness is the substratum and foundation of this whole universe, out of which everything has come. This universe, the galaxies, the plants, everything has evolved out of it, and at every moment is permeated by it. It's not that it's been separated from it. That is the foundation. And in this process of meditation, we are trying to connect ourselves to that source. So we want to quieten our body, quieten our mind by regulating our breath, pacifying the whole world by praying for the welfare of everyone, don't disturb me. Then we withdraw that mind and direct it to this body and say, beyond this body is a subtle body, the mental body of light. Beyond that is something even finer, which is the causal body. And beyond that is that ocean of pure consciousness. In that pure consciousness, we visualize a divine form and we feel it to be a living presence of the nature of light. But we can replace that with any divine form of our choice, according to our tradition in which we have been brought up with, or as per the spiritual direction given by our spiritual teacher. Whatever be the case, we want to establish a communion. And so we focus, visualize all wonderful things that we can think about, and that divine to be the manifestation of all those qualities multiplied by infinity. Okay, most attractive, most beautiful, most pure and all that. That is our true nature. The divine is not somebody separate from me. Actually, that is my higher self only. So we visualize the divine presence and repeat the mantra with great devotion and concentration. It is important that we focus. The whole idea is to improve the quality of your concentration of mind. Mechanical repetition is not bad, but it's not the best. Any form of repetition of the mantra is good because you're communicating it. But when there's a greater concentration, then outside other thoughts and ideas have been simply pushed aside, and that particular object of your meditation occupies the whole mental space in all its detail and clarity. And it's not just an existence, but it's a living existence. It's not like a statue, but it's a living person with whom you can communicate, you can talk to, he will respond, there's a smile, and all those type of things. You have to feel the divine presence in that particular way. And to hold the mind onto that divine form, we take the support of the mantra, because the mind is made of thoughts. And thoughts are constantly bubbling out from the subconscious mind and is constantly being stimulated by what we observe from outside, what we hear and all that. So it just keeps on jumping from one place to the other. Now we want to concentrate, means limit to one idea. That's better than thousands of thoughts. And eventually we can go beyond that one idea also, but we take the support of one pure holy idea, that's called the mantra, and we repeat the mantra and keeping the mind in that same loop. You start with the Om and we go, and before it finishes, we are watchful that it doesn't go astray by jumping on through some other thought. That little alertness and watchfulness of your mind is very important. So one part of your mind is repeating the mantra. The other part of your mind is watching the whole process. And it is so watchful that when it finishes, it catches the head of the mantra again, keeps it in that loop. If you are not very alert, you'll find that it jumps off and it takes you around the world tour. And you find you sitting there physically, but you are going elsewhere. So this alertness of mind during meditation is very, very important. The reflective mind should be watchful. So it should not be very tired and sleepy. You'll find that your mind will simply drift off somewhere. For 15, 20 minutes, you might be sleeping. And you might get up and say, oh, that was very nice, and I was very relaxed. But where I was, I do not know. That is not really meditation. In technical yogic language, it's called laya. Your mind actually went into a tamasic level, not in sattvic level. You'll have a very heightened state of alertness and awareness when you are meditating. So throughout that meditation, your mind is even more alert than normal times. But if it is slipped off and you say, I do not know how my time went, that is not concentration. You went into a tamasic state where there was less of manifestation of that consciousness. And if that happens, and happens repeatedly during meditation, then you should get up and go and wash your face, wake yourself up properly, and then meditate. Now, today we are going to talk something very, very interesting, very important, a little bit deeper. The whole objective of this exercise for japa and meditation is to develop the concentration of mind. Why we must do that? So that with this mind, properly trained and directed inwards, this mind itself can become the instrument for a higher level of spiritual experience. We said there is this existence, the physical world, the mental world, the subtle world behind that, and then the pure consciousness. We are all very much familiar with our physical world because we have identified ourselves with this physical body, and embedded in this physical body there are these 5 senses of knowledge, jnana indriyas. Through the eyes we see colors and forms, through the ears we hear sounds, through the skin we feel and the temperature and touch, through the nose we smell, and through the tongue we taste. This is how we are able to experience, the word is experience, the environment in which we live. But this physical sense organs capture only a very thin slice of existence. And we are locked in it, we are born it, we live it in it, we die in it. Animals live, that's almost like an animal physical existence. However, beyond this physical body and the senses is a mental body, the world of our thoughts and ideas, emotions, feelings, love and affection and all that. That is also part of our being. Though not much in control, but still there. We have a mind, we feel the emotions. Where it is lodged in our body, Is it in the head or in the heart or somewhere? We do not know, but it's part of our being. I can feel. It's not a physical thing, so I cannot pinpoint it there. But behind that also I can feel that I'm a bit of an intelligence, because the mind is different from me. I can observe it, I can watch it, I can see the thoughts coming out and drifting in, and some of them I like, some I don't like and all that, but I'm still different from the mind also. As an observer of the mind, that is the buddhi, the power of discrimination, and it's a power of self-assessment also. We call it the conscience. Whatever we do, whatever we think, we judge according to, and that if they're good, we feel good, your conscience feels good. If the actions have been good, you feel good about it. But if you do something which has been degrading, polluting, so to say, to our own mind, where we have not been able to measure up to this ideal or standard that we have set as a moral thing, then you'll find that your conscience will speak to you. You have done something wrong, it's not good, you'll feel bad about it. And if you listen to that voice of conscience within us, it will guide you in the right direction. That is the power of that buddhi. Behind that is a pure I sense. I feel I am. Whether it's identified with the body, or identified with the mind, or identified with the buddhi, but that I sense is there. That I sense is really a reflection of the universal I consciousness, which is called God or Brahma, but reflected in these three layers of Prakriti: the physical world, the mental world, the intelligence world. And when we say I am as an individual, we really are a mixture of two things. We are essentially the pure consciousness, the Atman, and we have become identified with this Prakriti, which is part of nature. Okay, the Atman is pure, eternal, immortal. The rest are all changing, and according to the purity of this body-mind complex, the reflection would be clearer or duller. More tamas is there, you get a very hazy, pure reflection of yourself, and you consider ourselves to be an animal or a human being. But if that mind becomes pure and luminous and shining like the mirror has been cleansed, then you see a beautiful image of yourself and you say, I'm a God. But ultimately, you are not the image. No matter how good the reflection is, you are what you are. We are always the Atman, but we are seeing our reflection in this mirror of nature, and this mirror has got different degrees of purity, so to say. Now, we want to have that pure experience. The difference between people is in this degree of, or the level of their experience of themselves. Some experience themselves as a physical body, and they cater to the enjoyments, the material, physical, eating, drinking, procreating, and that's the type of thing. Others live in the world of ideas, thinkers, scientists, philosophers. They're not very much bothered about how they look, the dress is shabby, the beard is there, the long hairs are there, all those things there. But they live in a world of ideas where they have a greater degree of enjoyment than physical sense enjoyment. But there is even a superior level of existence where one is even beyond the minds in that enlightened, luminous mental space, the Buddhist space, which reveals everything in its pure, in its proper way. And you can understand, you're very close to the true self. But the highest state is when you merge yourself in that ocean of consciousness, and that is called samadhi. Okay, self-realization, God-realization, nirvana, and all that. All these are possible for human beings, depending on which one you want and which one you want to work for. But spiritual life is a conscious effort to uplift this mind from this lower physical level, beyond the mental level, intellectual level, emotional level, and taking it beyond even the intelligence level into its pure state of self-existence. That is our divine birthright. That is the whole purpose of being born and born again in this world. And there's no rest until we accomplish that goal. Now, sadhana means those spiritual practices, disciplines, exercises that we do to reach the sadhya. Sadhya means the goal, whatever goal we set it to be. If you're a student in a university, you set yourself a very simple goal of being an engineer and doctor, and you put all your time and energy into it. Then after some time, you become transformed into a professional who is called a doctor, engineer, something like that. But if you set yourself even a higher goal, I will be a self-realized person. Okay, then The same process is there. The energies of your physical body, your efforts, the mental energies channelized to that higher level. Okay, and so that goal setting is called sadhya, and the person is called a sadhaka. Okay, so a student is a sadhaka trying to be a professional like that. A spiritual sadhaka is a spiritual practitioner who has set the goal of realizing himself or herself what I am really at the core of my being and what is the secret behind this whole universe. What has this universe come out of? What sustains it? And where this will eventually go. That greatest mystery of this life is what this person wants to resolve. Okay, so he wants to climb the Himalayas, so to say, not any small hill or something like that. So he has to have some proper training and tools and guidance to reach that goal. Okay, you require oxygen cylinders, you have to train your bodies to be very strong, and you just don't jump without any proper training. You go step by step by step, and you get your body acclimatized until one fine day you're standing on the highest peak on this earth, so to say. So the pinnacle of spiritual or human existence is that Himalayan peak of self-realization. What can help us in this part? Well, anyone who has climbed up there can give us some idea about what's the journey like, what are the risks, what are the helps and supports, and maybe give us some tools and ropes and ice picks and all that by which we can climb up that. So, spiritual teachers who access those higher levels, they said, okay, we'll give you some description of what is the journey. Those are contained in our scriptures. Not only that, so when you read the scriptures, you get a concept of the journey, the roadmap. But and no matter how much you keep on studying that map again and again, it will be a mental picture with greater degree of clarity that you will feel. But it will not give you that experience of climbing and having that spiritual illumination. In a spiritual life, we have to differentiate between this intellectual part of it and the experience part of it. Religion is realization. It's not subscribing to a particular faith or religion or prophet or book and say, I believe in this, and it's a mere belief. Not believing, it is about an experience, anubhuti, direct experience. So what is the tool that I have? Well, the physical tools, material tools are of no use. You can't use a telescope to see God, you can't use a microscope to see God. But you have an inner tool, inner instrument, antakarana, the inner organ. It can be transformed something like a telescope or microscope where you can zoom into yourself beyond the physical body, beyond the mental body, beyond the intellectual body, beyond your eye sense, and experience yourself as that pure consciousness with all these great enlightened people say. How do we develop that zooming capacity of the microscope? Okay, it requires. And meditation is the technique of developing that internal telescopic, so to say. So what do we do when you're looking through a microscope? We set focus. Increase the power of magnification. Go beyond what the eyes are seeing. Go through a 10 times magnification, 100 times magnification, 1,000 times magnification. But as you do that, you'll find that in that same circle which you are seeing through the microscope, the things are drifting out and some finer thing is expanding to occupy that whole visual space. Okay, so in our mental space, there are so many thoughts are there. When you focus into it, certain things will zoom out of it and a small part will fill up that mental space. Okay, and you see the clarity in detail. And as your power of mental concentration increases, you find that capacity to zoom deeper and deeper and deeper into the whatever you're studying develops, and nature, which was there, is revealing itself more and more and more. So, if you were looking through a microscope through different powers of magnification and took some photos at each stage, times 10, times 100, times 1,000, and you put all the three photos together, they will look all totally different. But they're all revealing the same thing depending on the capacity of our observation. Nature is ready to reveal itself. The limitation is that our mental microscope, so to say, is locked down at a very low power of resolution, so to say. So we see something very what you call the gross world. But behind the gross world, behind this table and the stone and the plant, is a mental subtle counterpart. Behind that is something higher. Ultimately, it is pure consciousness, so to say, using that analogy. So, in this process, we want to develop the power of concentration. To concentrate on something, we have to find one object of concentration. Okay, and it should not be something that's changing randomly. That's why the spiritual teacher, when you approach as Guru, will guide you in that. He'll identify for you a divine form as the chosen ideal. Okay, it's called Ishta Devata, chosen ideal. And he'll give you a mantra, which is the sound counterpart of the form, so to say. One is the object, the other one is the indicator. So, whichever divine form you will choose, they are all different aspects of that universal consciousness, which is called Ishvara. So, if you want to pray to and approach that Ishvara aspect of the universal being, what is his corresponding sound form, mantra that will be there? And today I will just read a little bit saying from this Patanjali Yoga Sutras. We have got only a few minutes, but we'll take this up next week, and I want you to see in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, chapter 1, from verse 23 onwards. Read that beautiful commentary there, so when we discuss it will be easier. So, concentration may be attained through devotion to Ishvara. Ishvara pranidhanatva. We talked about it in the Yama and Niyama. Okay? Niyama, last part, Ishvara pranidhana. So, by having devotion to Ishvara, devotion means he's a living being. So you can love, there's affection there. Yes, a relationship is there. You ask, just like a child is asking the mother for the food. The mother will feed the physical food. Here you are approaching God for spiritual knowledge, which is also food for your subtle body, so to say. Spiritual food, so to say. And the Lord will also provide you that. But you must seek it also. So, who is this Ishvara? A little bit of idea is given. Ishvara is a special kind of being, untouched by ignorance. So imagine there is no ignorance in that. Just like there's no darkness, it's pure. On the sun, is there any shadow? No, it's like that. There's no space for shadow because the light is coming out in all directions, like that. And it's beyond ignorance and the products of ignorance. Means this physical, mental world. He is beyond, untouched by that. Not subject to any karmas. Human beings do karma and there's a karma phala. So if you sow, so you shall reap. But Ishvara, when he creates this whole world, he is not affected by those karmas. Okay. Or samskaras or results of any action. Okay, those are the things that affect human beings. But Ishvara is a special being who is not affected by all these things. In him, knowledge is infinite. Okay, imagine there is not an iota of knowledge. You are all knowing, omniscient. In human beings, we have some knowledge, but it's a very limited knowledge, like a small seed. But it can be increased more and more until it becomes almost like Ishvara. You become omniscient when this mind is lifted to that highest level. He was the teacher even of the earliest teachers. Okay, so the Adi Guru is the supreme teacher. And he's not limited by time in any way that he was born like us, he lives for a certain time and disappears. No, he is the eternal being. Then comes the beautiful verse, number 27 says, Tasya Vachaka Pranava. What is the word which expresses him is O. Okay, so everything has got a name. Okay, that's how our body, our mind is constituted. A table is the shape and the word table, they're two interlinked. So there is a being called Ishvara, which we have just discovered. But what's his name? How do we call somebody? Okay, when we meet somebody, when we are interested in that person, the first thing we go and ask him, so what's your name? How do I address? I want to, and when I talk to you, I want you to know that I'm talking to you and not the person next. So I want to know how I address it. And you will respond to that. When I use that word, then the person next one is not responding to you. So the word has got a link to it. It establishes the direct connection. So what is the word that will establish a direct connection between me, the seeker, and the Supreme Being called Ishvara? What's the Vachaka? Vachya is the thing denoted, and Vachaka is the word that will denote thing. The two are inseparable. Sri Ramakrishna says, Nam, Nami, Abhed. Nama means the word, Nami is the person who has been called, and the two are not separate from one another. Okay, Nam, Nami, Abhed. They are not any different. Tasya Vachaka Pranava. Omkar. The word Om is the most universal sound that we can produce. When we speak, we use this voice box. Okay. And all the sounds in whichever language we are articulating, expressing, is produced by this mechanism of this human speech mechanism. So, at one end, the sound that when the mouth is totally open without any part, tongue touching any part, is the ah sound. Ah. And when you close it at the other end, with the lips closed, sound. And ah, when it rolls from the ah stage to oo, through oo, ends with So ah, oo, Within these boundaries, so to say, within the two brackets, is contained all the various types of sounds that can be produced. But the most universal, the whole matrix is captured by ah, oo, So this is the most universal sound, and as such is the best symbol, name, so to say, of the most universal being, which is behind this whole universe. That is how Swami Vivekananda explains. But there's a deeper meaning to it. When I say the O sound Om, that vibration which is produced by my mouth travels through the air and hits your eardrum, and you hear a sound in your mind. And that sound you call Om also. What you heard was really the energy that was generated by me, and that traveled as sound energy, and you experienced it as a sound. The word sound that you experience is different from the energy that was traveling through. Okay, they're two different things. So in this world, in this universe, everything is energy, Shakti, Brahman and Shakti. And that energy is vibrating at different degrees. In the highest levels of planes, the intensity of those vibrations are very, very high. Brahma Loka and all that. When it comes down, it becomes less and less and less until it comes down to this material world where our five sense organs are able to pick them up. And we say, okay, I can hear certain things, I can see certain vibrations, light vibrations, I can hear the sound vibrations, I can experience various types of vibrations of energy. We live in this realm of spectrum of energy that is experienced by us in some way. So behind every form, there is a subtle counterpart, which is its sound form or the energy form. Okay, we are going a little deep into the science of the mantras. But sufficient to say for today's class is that the universal being at its highest level of manifestation, Brahman, when it first manifests as a cosmic, macrocosmic, that being is denoted by this personalization of Ishvara. His most universal, appropriate corresponding name is Pranava or Om. And Maharishi Patanjali says that as a sadhaka, tad japa tad sabhavana. Repeat this mantra and contemplate its meaning. Meaning is not the intellectual idea. Remember, it's not the sound that you heard. It is the energy that was coming, which was experienced as the sound. Okay. It's a feeling rather than an intellectual idea. Just like I feel my body. And so I'm not having a concept and idea of bodies as some words and thoughts. These are my organs and systems. I feel it. Likewise, that presence of consciousness is to be felt. It's more to do with the heart than with the head, so to say. And the linking is to be done there. So that is where this mantras, the science of mantras, can be a great aid in our spiritual development. The subject matter is meditation. But japa of a mantra, understanding its meaning and linking it from its gross level to subtle level to partial level to the pure consciousness, how that mantras by constant repetition can help us uplift this mind by resonating with the higher energy levels that are embedded in the mantra. And as your mind goes to the high level, then the world is experienced in the subtle way. As you change from times 10 magnification to 100, it reveals itself. 1,000 magnification, it reveals itself. So as the mind becomes purer and purer and purer, it means subtler and subtler and subtler, then that is whatever is this existence which we are experiencing as this material world around us will become transformed. The physical world will disappear and you will be in a world where everything is filled with ideas. And you go beyond that, that will disappear and everything is filled with intelligence. And you go beyond that, then it's all pure consciousness. That is here and now. Okay, that's a very important idea. That reality of Atman, Brahman is here and now. Our problem is we are locked in a very low level of experience, so to say, where we experience ourselves as a physical body, and the world is a physical body. When Sri Ramakrishna would go in Samadhi, he has the mechanism to zoom in or zoom out of his body into that consciousness, and he said everything is filled with Brahman. He comes down a little there, he says, I see this cosmic energy which he calls the Divine Mother, and she is present in the heart of all living beings. She alone has become the 24 cosmic principles and all living beings. When it comes down to this cross level, then he sees people around and he talks to everyone and gives instructions. He is a living example, a wonderful example. His life is a wonderful illustration of what is to mean to have a spiritual experience, the capacity to zoom into the reality, experience at the pure consciousness, which is possible for Ishwar qualities, but there is the capacity to come down and teach us also. The ordinary person will go in there and he doesn't want to come back again. But that in a nutshell is a little bit of idea about what we're trying to achieve in a spiritual, through our spiritual discipline. And tomorrow's class, our Sunday's class at 11 o'clock Brisbane time, we will go deeper into this science of mantras. A little bit deeper. Knowledge is power. And as you understand that, then at some point your desire to have that experience becomes more. And then you have to use that knowledge in the right way also, with that desire that I will have that spiritual experience which is my true nature. And I should have it sooner or later. So we'll discuss that in greater detail. But in the meantime, whether you know or not, repeat the mantra. Take the medicine, whether you know its chemical composition or not. If you take it properly, it will work. Heal us in there. So repeating the mantra with great concentration and devotion as much as possible, morning and evening, through systematic japa and meditation at allocated times for a specific period. You must do it. 10 minutes, 15 minutes could be a good start, but you might not feel the impact of it. You have to push it a little bit more. And in the day, in the midst of all activities, keep a part of the mind on that mantra. Let it run in the subconscious.